Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, we're ready to start. First question, please.
Yeah, Mike, we've asked you several times this week about the defense, and it's kind of focused on the big plays in the passing game. But this Cleveland team with their ground game, where do you assess where you are as being able to stop the run at this stage of the season defensively?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a focus of ours going into this game, and frankly, I think we'll see some shots deep off of their action game early in the game. So I think it's like anything else when you have self-scout tendencies of plays against, you're definitely going to see those concepts the following week in some form or fashion. But as far as our focus on the run game, I think we've improved as the season has gone on. I definitely felt like we played much better at the line of scrimmage this past week than we did in the first 2 weeks.
And as a quick follow-up to that, just was DeMarcus Lawrence able to do anything in your mock game today, or will it be tomorrow before you get a better feel whether or not he'll be able to go?
He has done everything so far today. So I mean he's on schedule as far as the plan for him to play. So unless we get derailed in any way, I anticipate him playing.
Mike, I know you were asked earlier this week about Baker Mayfield, but in your observation of him from last season to this season, what is he doing better? And is this staff, is Cleveland asking him to do something different this season than they were a year ago?
Well, I think the first thing is, the sample size is small. There's only 3 games this year compared to last year. He's playing the 2 different offenses. I think the starting point in running the football is obviously there, but this group, they have more run concepts, so with that, the action and boots off of that are going to be more prevalent. I think the biggest change that I've seen in Baker, just once again on a small 3-game sample size, is this change in his footwork, and I think I believe in the footwork that they're using with him now, just because it's the way that I've always done it, and I think it'll benefit him as he moves forward.
Thank you.
Mikey, on the Cleveland run game here again a little bit, and we've seen you predominantly in your nickel package. That's basically your base defense. Have you guys had to work more of a traditional base this week than you had in any other week in preparing for that? And how do you make up for time that you spent so much on nickel to get back into like a regular base kind of setup maybe?
So I'm sorry, are you part of the Cleveland coaching staff, or is this? I mean, we're going to be in whatever personnel we need to be in to stop them. But I mean, once again, they roll personnel groups. Whether we match it with nickel or other personnel groups, frankly that's more for game specific focuses.
Stefanski did not want me to ask this question to you, but so maybe I'll get a better one. With
I like that.
CD and your receivers, how much does it benefit him to have guys like Amari and Michael? Because I go back to your time in Green Bay when you had Devontae Adams come in, you had Cobb and Jordy. When Nelson came in, you had Driver and Jennings. To have those guys around to, quote, not have to be the man right away as a young player, how much does that aid CD?
No, in all honesty, that's great insight on your part. I think that shows you the type of room you'd like to have almost in every position, and it was a huge benefit, for us in Green Bay. Donald Driver was the established veteran, and as we brought in Greg and then Jordy and then James Jones and Randall Cobb and then Devontae. There's a passing of the torch. There's the veterans taking care of the young guys, showing them the way. That's so important, and we're fortunate enough to have that here. And not only just with CD coming in, but also you got Cedric Wilson and I think Noah's. He's been around a couple years too to go along with with Amari and Michael. So, veteran leadership in every position room is important because it's never just about one guy, one player in that room. You need the whole group. And when the veterans can take care and help educate the younger guys, not only just on the scheme of, what to do, but how to do it, how to train and all the little nuances that are, that take place for these professionals, it's a great benefit.
Mike, you said on the radio today that Tyron was on track to play Sunday. I just wanted to make sure that was still the case.
So you listened to the radio show, huh? Wow. Rich, did you listen to the radio show?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, of course you didn't. But Tyron is on. Yeah, he's on track to play. So he did everything yesterday that was set out for him, and he's on course to complete everything today. So once again, I think we're definitely headed in the direction of him playing on Sunday.
Okay. And as you now with a chance to kind of absorb looking at the way that line has played through 3 weeks, how do you think that group has played, considering the injuries and the shuffling and everything else?
Well, I think you have to look at the production in the way they've, because the way they've let us play. It's when you have challenges, whether it's the offensive line or defensive line. I mean, football will and always will start up front. So the fact that we've been able to play wide open in 2 games because of the score of the game, I think speaks volumes about the offensive line. So, there's just a lot of moving parts. I mean, if you just would see the way we're training and the guys that are playing, the multiple players playing multiple positions, that's the challenge that we're in right now. And I've said it time and time again, when an offensive line has an opportunity to play with the same 5 guys over an extended period of time, you're not only seeing a very good offensive line, you're seeing a winning football team, and statistics will support that. So, but you do get in challenges like we're in, and I think our guys have handled it very well.
Mike, about a month into the season, what have you learned about your group so far?
Well, they're resilient. They answer the bell at every step of the way. They really take the coaching. I really am enjoying the atmosphere that we're building here. It's a group that's really into football and trying to do it not only the right way but our way. And it's the feedback and the interaction is nonstop, and and it's really just having the opportunity to get on the same page, and because there's more than one way to skin a cat in this game, but the most important thing is we're doing it our way, with input and conversation, collaboration, but I would say they're definitely a resilient group. I do like that about our football team.
And one quick thing on DeMarcus, he's battling that knee. Will you limit what he can do on Sunday, or are you just going to, just see how he's feeling as the game goes on?
Well, I mean, he's a pro. He's a starter. So the feedback that he gives us during the course of the game is what will drive that. What will drive those decisions.
Mike, when you look at a game like Seattle where Dak was hit 10 times but still had the production that he has, how much does that influence your game plan in terms of knowing whether it's Myles Garrett or another pass rusher coming up, you can have confidence that he'll produce regardless of the pressure?
Well, it's all part of it. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want your quarterback to get hit, and you're obviously doing things to prevent that because that's not the design of it. But yeah, Myles Garrett is clearly our focal point as far as their rush, and he pretty much rushes predominantly almost on every play. So I mean, he's unique. His length and his bend and his flexibility. He has a great motor. So we'll definitely be aware of where he is at all times.
And as a follow-up, Dak talked about how, yes, there's a guy like Garrett coming, but he's not just going to come clean, and Dak has trust in that offensive line. What's the key to making sure the quarterback and offensive line are on the same page before a rusher like that comes?
Really, just be honest with you, just trust the declaration, trust your scheme, and more importantly, trust your technique and just have a clear understanding where your help is. So, and I think our guys do a good job of that.
To see much of Connor McGovern last year between practice and him not playing during the games as a rookie. We haven't seen much of him this season either, just because of where he is in his development. Can you provide some insight on Connor McGovern's development and just kind of where he is today and where are the rooms where's the room that he needs to grow in order to feel comfortable, putting him as an early option at guard in a reserve situation?
Well, I really like the progress that Connors is making. I think the injury, number one, coming off an injury, then you have a new staff, and so what he's being asked to do, how he's being asked to do, it's different. No off season, so you can see the ability, and I'm starting to see a young player who's starting to get comfortable, not only in the scheme but also in the fundamentals. So he's making progress, and he just needs to stay the course.
As someone who has all the physical tools, but as been said before, he's learning to refine them at an NFL level technique standpoint. He was inactive this most recent game after being active the first two. Is that a decision based on special teams or where he is in his development? What was the context there to that decision?
Well, there's multiple variables that go into those decisions, and I think it's clearly reflected on the injuries that we've encountered, also the different combinations of players that we're not only using on the offensive line and the secondary, but more, at a much higher rate on our special teams. So there's all those variables go into play on whether you can take 10 linemen or 9 linemen.
Mike, you talked earlier today on your radio show about the biggest thing you look for offensively is ball distribution. I just want to get, in your opinion, what does good ball distribution look like?
Well, good ball distribution is, really getting the ball distributing where the ball should go. And, you don't want to get in a situation where you're forcing a ball to a player because you're definitely running the chance of passing up a better option. So, and that comes in the game planning scheme, how people, how we line the perimeter players up, what they're asked to do. So really good ball distribution is seeing the ball distributed, at a high completion percentage in the pass game and obviously touches and targets to the runners.
Mike, presuming Tyron is able to play Sunday and also presuming that you don't want to move several guys around like you did in the second half, what are the factors that would go into you deciding between whether Knight or Steele starts on the right side?
You really look at the week preparation. We had some adjustments that were needed after yesterday's practice. So it was a better Thursday than we've had, but we definitely have room for improvement, as far as what we're trying to get done. So we just got to make sure that both those guys are ready to play.
Mike, when you look at what happened with Tennessee, I know you feel good about your protocols and everything, but it underscores that you can be doing something, but someone else is going to impact your schedule that you have no control over. Do you just assume that at some point this season that your schedule could be disrupted, or is that something that you don't even deal with because it's a hypothetical?
Well, I think we're definitely in a state of no surprises, and you just can only really focus on what you can control, and and that's really adhering to the protocols that are in place here. And I think as long as we do that, then we got to consider that a success. Yeah, we can't really concern ourselves or focus on what anybody else is doing. And I think clearly the fact that the President of the United States has the virus shows you the emphasis that's needed to make sure you're doing everything you possibly can. One more question, please.
Mike, with Aldon Smith and the start that he's had to the season, are you past the point of wondering what he can do after such a long layoff. Do you expect this now, week to week, the production that he's had?
Well, I think like anything in the game of football, you want to establish, a standard of play for your team. You want to establish standard of play for the offense and defense, and that's no different for each and every individual. So, you are what you put on film, and with your production and execution. I mean, he's off to an excellent start. So with that, he is establishing a standard of play, but also you got to be, keep your eyes wide open to the fact that, the challenges that are going to be in front of him are even going to be more excessive. I mean, it's, he plays his opening game against the Rams, and then week 2 they're sliding a protection to him. So, those are the type of challenges I'm sure he's going to see moving forward. So, as long as he plays to the standard that he's established, which isn't always reflected in stats, I think we'll all be very, very happy. Most importantly, I think he'll be pleased with the way his season's going to turn out. Thank you.